Boom, we're going to go live. I don't know if we get a signal straight away, so I'm going to let it roll for a minute. Mic mode standard. We've got no intro today, so let it roll. Turn the camera around for a moment. Beep, 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 beep. Hey Craig, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Sorry, I was actually forgot I was live. But I'm testing the stream and forgot I was live for a second because I turned the camera around and I was just thinking about how to get certain things working on the stream. So yeah, sorry. What the hell was I doing? Let me turn this round. Oh dear, that's funny. I literally forgot I was streaming because I was working out how to do the stream. Glad I wasn't saying anything stupid to all my gay boyfriends and trans friends and that, innit? Gosh. Sorry, him's, hers. I don't know what the fucking phrases are. No, this is a test stream. So for those of you who may want to skip this one, skip this one. I used to go live on StreamYard, and then they raised the prices to be ridiculous. And they try to cater for the market of people that are doing professional streams, except people who do professional streams don't like StreamYard because it's actually quite a basic experience. So I don't know what. I think the market they were looking for was the people who've got a big name and have no ability whatsoever. So beep, 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 beep. So they alienated a lot of us out of the market. So, for instance, I use Prism for my normal live streams, and it's brilliant in every way. But it's either not got a studio or I've got to have that running on my PC for it to work. I'm not sure which yet. I haven't looked into that side. I've got all the other sides of it working. It's really, really good. $8.99 a month. So to go, and that does multiple destinations, everything. It's really cool. So what I used to do with StreamYard, because obviously you get this version free where you can, but you just can't go to multiple destinations. Well, when I'm growing on Getter every video, I need to be multiple destinations, right? So I used to go onto StreamYard, go to desktop mode on your browser. Some of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you will not. And that will imitate a PC. And then StreamYard was one of the very few studios that used to hold out on a browser and work. So I used to be able to do streams from all sorts of places. You didn't have much camera control from a phone. You did have the ability to do that. So today, after years since I've used it, I thought I'd have a look to see if you could still do that, because I want to cut the costs of making the podcast. So I had a look and I was like, oh my God, they've created an app. The StreamYard have created an app. Finally, they've realized Like there must have been too many people like me doing the same thing, and they've relented. So I thought this is good news, and it is good news for as much as if I want to speak to Vin and I want to do it from my end, or if I want to have one of you guys on to talk, we can do that now. That's good, but unless I pay, then I can't get out to get her. And here's the thing, right? I get that you will technically, if they didn't make tiers, you would have access to all the stuff you got on the PC, and therefore, why would you charge less? I get that, but what about the people who only use their Android phones or their iOS phones? So you've introduced an app into the market that does this live streaming, and for all you know, people are coming across you for the first time because you've only just released this app, which, by the way, isn't an app because it goes straight to a browser window, so it's bullshit. And then they're confronted with a minimum $45 price tag for an Android app that you're selling it as. That's the minimum price. But so you got $8.99 for Prism, which I thought was a couple of quid too much, but it was all right. Because it's got better and better. The service is good. Like you say, you're just missing that studio. And even then, it's got a OBS mixed version. You can do a studio from home, but it's the mobiles that are important. That was the whole reason I got the StreamYard app on here. So, yeah, I can't go to multiple destinations. So bear in mind, that's all I need from them. I don't need any of the other tools they offer. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like I want to have all these, I don't know, luxuries from StreamYard. I don't. I literally just need the ability to multi-stream. I think there's probably other ways I can do it, maybe with OBS or something. There's probably other ways around it. But my point being is they want to charge $45 versus $8.99. I know one's pounds, one's dollars, but you get my point. And I just think, what the fuck? Yeah, you could limit. You could make the app so that anybody on that tier cannot use it on a PC, can only use it on their phone from the app, and then have a reduced price tier, because if they're only using it from the phone, they're only going to get certain abilities. Like, bang, you've just captured the whole market, and you've done it better than your competition. Because if it's working all right now, they've done a pretty good job, right? So I'll never understand the minds of these people. Anyway, with that little moan out of the way, hey, Vin, are you free at the moment? Are you free, buddy? Yeah, I wanted to, because it's a test, I didn't want to get anything too heavy because I don't know how this is going to work out. So I just wanted to mention that I said to you the other day, surprise, surprise, they would, hey, Dave, surprise, surprise, they would, what's the word? Sorry, excuse me. They would be forced to call this the wettest winter on record since 1836, right? But I told you they wouldn't be able to leave it alone. I told you they would have to mix it up. So they've done the reverse of what they did in the summer. I hate all this. So in Britain, right, we used to have a fixed temperature for heat waves. Because we weren't getting enough heat waves and proving the narrative, they started lowering the temperature of certain places that are more to the north to adjust for the temperature difference. Except that a heat wave is supposed to be a fixed temperature because it's supposed to be a danger to health, not a holiday fucking sign, right? So, first red flag. But what they did with the summer is they totally tried to simplify it. It's the headlines you remember. They forecast 40 degrees this summer. We got nowhere near it. We barely passed 30 for a couple of times. They said we had 4 heat waves. We had one, maybe two. No, it was one, wasn't it? Yeah. The other things we call heat waves because they were periods of really hot weather or really warm weather. But again, you have to be hitting a constant temperature of 28 for 3 days in a row or more for it to be considered a heat wave because it's a danger to life. So they did all this stuff last year where many of us talked about this. They extrapolated the data. So every year they've extrapolated it differently. They tried to call last year the warmest summer on record, whereas we all know that it was a lovely summer, but hardly the hottest summer on record, hardly the hottest we've had. Now, if they'd said the warmest, I would go along with it, because what you had was the day and night temperatures were, because of a marine heat wave that we had, they were keeping it warm 24/7. It just wasn't hot that many times. We had a few occasions when it was hot, but more often it was warm. And they tried to say it was the sunniest summer. Well, where I was, we had plenty of days where it was warm but cloudy, warm but raining. It was lovely, but it was not the perfect postcard picture. And the point I was trying to get to is they started using mean temperatures, as opposed to the heat wave before, where they had used the top temperatures. Then it was the amount of days that had been over 32 degrees, which was a particularly odd temperature to pick. Then the amount over 30, the amount of sunshine days. It's been broken into these things each year. And then the top temperature being the 42 that everybody remembers as 42. Look it back up. That slipped out, that temperature. That was a mistake, that temperature. It's actually 40.3 or 40.6. That was an error, apparently. I thought it was odd on the day that we had not only beaten the record, but smashed past it by like 3 degrees. Didn't make any sense. 40.3 or 40.6 does. So they do all this deliberate mental gymnastics to try and mess people up over which summer's the hottest. And when you measure it with the different measuring tape with different notches on every time, then yeah, you can make the facts fit your narrative. So what they've tried to do with the ultimately wettest winter I've seen in my life. I mean, I've never seen that pond over. This area is on a hill. I'm on a hill, guys. I'm on a hill. Oh, we've already walked a mile. I'm on a hill. So water runs down from here. It's been absolutely, it's been bad everywhere. And so in the summer, there was, I actually worked it out. The average temperature was 22 degrees, which is, I think, 22 or 23 degrees. I think it was 22, which is actually well above our normal average. And a lot of people remember a lot of days where it's 25. So what they did, sorry, I'm trying to get my brain back on track. This is important. So what they did with the winter that we've just had, because they've been forced in this position, they've done the pulling out of facts and the way that they're presenting them again. So now they're telling you, oh, it was because obviously the hosepipe bans, the water shortages, yeah, there's a narrative to be kept. They're telling you, sorry, that was the point. So in the summer, they didn't mention the fact that there was about 5 regions that had a heat wave on the heat wave days, and the rest of the country didn't have a heat wave. It was not a countrywide heat wave, therefore we don't normally declare it, right? However, now we've had the wettest summer winter on record. My God, they brought every statistic out in the book. It was the wettest. It was the wettest in some areas. Oh, that matters to you now. It was the wettest in some areas in the north. The south was least affected. Really? Really? You mean the south is least prone to flooding? That's not the same as least affected by the amount of rainfall. That's not the same thing. They've tried to compare it to years like 2014 where the average rainfall was higher. Yeah, but how much was the total rainfall? Like, they are playing games again. And they've done this ever since, by the way, ever since the Met Office lost a contract to a company called Meteo Earth. When they won that contract back, they've been doing sensationalist shit ever since. But so they've just pulled apart the fact that this has been the wettest winter on record, and they've tried to regionalize it. They've tried to play it down in certain areas, but in the areas that it suits them, they've done the opposite. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Have a look, because now's the time. At the end of February, beginning of March, they have to sort of declare what they found for the, you know, what type of winter it was or whatever. So now's the time. Have a look about and you'll see some of the mental gymnastics being done to try and fool the public. It's insane. It's insane. Let me just have a look. Did Vince say he was busy? If he is, it's fine. It's not a problem. I just wanted to check. Oh, he's gone completely from. I can't see it now. He was on with Neil. Did I imagine it? Oh no, he was there. He was there. Well, Vin, in case you see this, I'm gonna stick a link in the chat for you. If you can't come on now, no problem. I know you might be busy. I'm just gonna stick it in there just in case you have got time, because if you do, we'll just check, see if this works, because I've never tested this before. But if not, no problem whatsoever. I'm not planning to do a podcast today. This is purely a test. So, in fact, if anybody wants to jump on, you know, it's literally a jump on, jump off. We just need to know it works. Sorry about that. Nearly threw myself out permanently from that live stream. So, yeah, good on me. Right, let's try and be more careful this time. This is the problem with browser-based studios. Why I don't like them is because if you press one wrong button, one back button when you didn't mean to, the whole thing blows out because the cache. No chasing kitties. The cache is completely blown. So, so I've not actually invited someone in. Oh, there you go. From an app before. Copy. Okay, got it. So like I say, I was expected to have to do a bypass, but they did do an app. So I was quite impressed. Like I said to you earlier on, people who only use Android or whatever really should have a different price. If you're not using it on PC, why not make it competitive with Prism or whatever? Right? A tenner is a decent price, but no, $45, whatever. Like, it's just not worth $45. All I'd be getting out of it is being able to take their logo off, which I don't really care about, and multi-streaming. The rest of the stuff on there, Vin will tell you, it's things like webinar stuff. What do we want webinar stuff for? You know what I mean? It's like, it's useless to us. So it's all like it's just a big fix. So, but this will be good for doing certain things, like, you know, talking to certain people, certain members of the audience. So it is useful to know this exists. So it's not like I'm totally ungrateful for it, but it's nothing we couldn't have done without their help before. So, but I'll have a look. There must be a way of splitting the stream from here, which is what we'll do. Am I not back on cam yet? Am I not back on yet? Thought it was. It's showing me that I am. No, it says I'm on. I'm on, right, guys? I forgot StreamYard doesn't show you all the comments either, does it? So I'm not seeing all the comments on here either. I'm seeing some of them. Hey, Missy. How you doing? So yeah. So the other thing is, while I can't see, if you can, yeah, you can see me. Okay. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Missy Moon. So again, it is just a test stream. So please don't base today's quality on my normal podcast. I really didn't even know this app existed. Normally used to be a workaround we had to do. But I do want to just say something. Funny enough, since I've bothered to waste time on talking about weather, I do want to say about the whole global warming thing. Why not? Why not jump in there, right? Boring debate, I know. But I do want to say that I've gone down to a place down now. Actually, I just realised, don't want to name it, but it's a place where there's like quite a lot of high tension about security. Let's just say that. And so Extinction Rebellion went there. And it was about 6 of them. There was about 6 of them there. And they put all this animal blood on the ground, that to be really dramatic. And it was like, but there was this marine biologist there. And she was talking about global warming and that. And I just said to her, and this other guy was there as well. And I said, you believe that you have all of the evidence from history about, I was setting them up about global change. Yeah, it's like, and they're like, yeah, it's not just the records that we've got from the last couple of 100 years. We know the entire 4.3 billion year history of Earth. And so the first thing I said was, what, through carbon dating? And they said, yeah. And I said, yeah, because that's never been wrong before, because it has been when we've made mistakes with it. But the more important thing I was really setting her up for, that was supposed to be the lame point to make. What I really set her up for was there's 1 billion years of our history, of our entire planet's history. We don't know where it is. So for the entire duration of our planet that we're aware of, the 4.4 billion years, we think it's worked in a certain way, which means there's deposits and everything else left behind that we've got 3 billion years of them to show that that's true and how it works and blah, blah, blah. But there's 1 billion years, unless this has been solved, which I don't think it has, there's 1 billion years of a missing shelf, of a missing existence, of a missing anything. There was nothing. There's like a missing shelf of 1 billion years. Nearly 1/4 of our entire history is, as the scientists would say, missing. So already when these people start saying we've got a complete map of the history, no, you don't. Nobody does. We're missing 1 billion years. That's huge. To not know what happened in your climate for 1 billion years. There's a lot of people who do know about the climate that say we're still actually in an ice age. And they actually make the claim that, and I'm not a scientist, they make the claim that, well, there's still ice on the poles, you're still coming out of one. Which means their point being, so of course the climate's changing. I think I'm right in saying it's been periods in history where the climate and conditions haven't changed for maybe up to 3 million years at a time. And life hasn't adapted as a result. But there's also been times when it's been constant change for millions upon millions upon millions of years. We know some of them were catastrophic. We know some of them weren't. The point of it is, we don't know exactly. So this is what I'm trying to tell you is, I think the globe is warming. However, it's not warming at the rate they told us it was. It's not warming because of the ozone layer, which has repaired itself. And we know that we have a history of warming on Earth. They're saying, oh, it's never happened this fast before. It actually has. Even that, I believe that to be true, but it's not. It's not true. So a lot of people are saying they can see small effects of a warming, but that would be natural for still coming out of an ice age, for a start. 2, a lot of people expect us to go into an ice age, which will fix it all anyway. 3, the argument between anybody that knows anything, I'm not suggesting that's me, the argument between anybody that knows anything is not global warming or whatever. It is, should we be interfering when we don't know for sure that we've got anything to do with it? Every time we've interfered before, we mess things up. Should we be interfering with something that in the past the buildup of CO2 has created literally some of the biggest explosions of life and evolution in the Earth's history. That the Earth has a natural way of dealing with these problems. Should we be interfering when we don't know the mechanism, when we have got just a couple of 100 years of records, when we truly don't understand? People try and mess with the weather, governments try and mess with the weather, and they get all kinds of results. So it's more a case of, yeah, wouldn't you want to leave it alone? But so my feeling is, and again, some people will say I'm wrong for this, but I do feel like there's evidence to suggest it's warming a bit. And I don't necessarily see that it's not warming to the way they said it was. And I don't see it being the big catastrophe that they're saying. I do understand the arguments, but at the extremes, it would be worse than the rest of it. But that would have happened anyway. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Even if we've contributed a bit to it, this is the direction the Earth would have been going in, because it's defrosting. And I think there's a lot of people that would agree with that. So I don't know. I think the climate is changing. Is that the same as me having a political climate change stance? No, I don't believe that human beings have driven us to the edge of extinction, because all these theories have been proved wrong. Even the overpopulation theory is now it's ironic, but falling underneath its own weight, the same as the population. So we were told for years and years and years that fossil fuels are going to run out and everything else. And the next thing we were told was that we were going to be overpopulated and run out of resources. Whereas every current projection says we're going to top out about, about 12 billion. And then we're going to have a population collapse. People aren't having babies in Korea, in Japan, in multiple other places. A lot of the places where men have been feminized, by the way. Every time this has happened in the past, civilizations have fallen. Every single time. There are no escapees from the things that, I've said this before, but it's worth reminding everybody. The situation we're in right now, the reason why I get so hot under the collar about some of the people that are trying to benefit from the situation is there is no civilization that survived what we're going through at the moment, ever. Not the Romans, not the Greeks, not any of them. When they started to, as much as I'm not a religious guy, when they threw away religion, when they started to go into the sexual debauchery, when they questioned gender, and they questioned gender and truth in the way that we're doing right now, and multiple other things, by the way, multiple political situations, making it multiculturalism. All of these things have been done before. Multiculturalism, yes, the Romans ended up going from a state that wouldn't allow it to a state that indulged in it because they felt they had to in some ways. And, modern audiences. And it all went the same way. And that is, surprisingly, for about 40 years, for a lot of them, the quality of life went up. Everybody felt free. And they prospered for about 40 years. And then in most cases, in most of the empires, they went downhill from there. Don't get me wrong, it's always hard to place the death of an empire. And I'm not saying this exact thing caused this exact death, because there's always an amalgam of things. What I'm saying is, isn't it interesting that these same issues are all very, very heightened around the end of all major empires known to human beings, bar maybe a couple, just a couple. And I can't even think who those would be, but I'm sure when I was reading up about it, there was like one or two that were immune from this. But most others have fallen into exactly the same situation we've fallen into right now, and that is immigration and a loss of moral standards, a loss of a loss of belonging, a loss of belief in the self, a loss of the state. Yeah, all of it, a loss of belief in gender, truth. You imagine, think about what I'm saying, right? Forget the current world. Just imagine any world. Things I've just said to you, you've just basically taken away a lot of people's identity or truth about their worldview. Gender, politics, it's true. You've just destroyed someone's worldview. Is it any wonder it led partly to the end of empires? You know? And that's what's happened to you now. You're being told that to raise an English flag is racist, as opposed to what it's supposed to mean, which is, hey, we're all in this together. And just the same as the rest of the world can be a bit of a nasty place and can tend to pick on people a little bit. Well, guess what? We're sticking together. We're prepared to fight for our country, same as everybody's prepared to fight for theirs. That mutual promise of violence often helps prevent it. There's nothing wrong with that. We've been demonized for so much. And as much as like people say, as much as people do demonize Trump, think about what he has done. He's had the balls to come out and say, Americans first. And think of what I just said. He's had the balls to come out and say America. Now, that shouldn't take balls. It should be a logical statement. Is an American president being elected by the American people for American interests? Why should he even need to say it? But in this world of 2026, that is exactly the world we're in, where people need to establish these, what should be, go without saying kind of facts. That's the world we're in. It's crazy. This is why we cannot lose. We must not lose. Because it's not just losing 2 miles. It's not just losing one singular battle or one singular war. I truly believe it's losing the country. It's losing the culture war. You know, there are people now fighting back in Hollywood, believe it or not. Certain companies are fighting back against the narrative. There are people fighting back in all kinds of unexpected places. And we've been treated to that with the politics recently. People are beginning to fight back. The public are beginning to show their true feelings because, let's face it, they've been demonized by their own prime minister, all of them. And no matter what ideology they do or don't have, they're going to have opinions about being slagged off by their own prime minister, when a lot of them were just working, paying their taxes, trying to get through life. And they got a nutty prime minister that starts taking money off people and attacking them. So he made a lot of enemies. And like I said, I really, truly believe that he's broken human rights laws, and I hope someone takes him to task over it when he's inevitably thrown out the front door. But like I say, then you've got to really prove to you how dangerous and effed up politics has become, is take a look at the Green Party. Owen Jones, his presence should say everything. His adorance of that party, big fish in a small pond, but also, I've seen some of his videos recently. I was going to actually do one about him, but it's actually hard to watch. He makes me cringe. He's growing a beard now. Now he's finally hit, 40? Whatever he is now, he can finally grow a beard. So he's celebrating and showing everybody, see, I am a man. It just took me longer than everybody else. But he's sitting on there pulling these silly faces like he knows better than everybody. He looks actually like either coked out or like he's got brain damage. I don't know what's happened to him. Don't care, really, because he's on there being him. So, but he's talking about the loss of human life in certain areas in the world. Like, it's absolutely abominably atrocious that it can be happening under anybody's watch. We can agree on that, me and Owen. What we can't agree on is Owen decides what humans are important and what humans aren't. And this is the entire problem with the left. They say we're intolerant. They say we're racist and bigot. But this is what I was trying to say to you the other day. It's not us. As Christopher Hitchens once rightly said, it's not us that will look at a man's religion or a man's skin colour or a man's ideology before we decide to save him from drowning in a river. People like us just act first, think later. Yeah? People like those think first, maybe never act at all. That's the left, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the left and the prevailing attitude over there. And that's why they've always frustrated me so much. Because you know when the shit comes down, you know whose legs they'll be hiding behind. Ours. And it makes me sick. Like the way that gays for Palestine. I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't. You know, I wouldn't want to see the mass slaughter, but just love to see them really being introduced to what people over there think of them. You know, I mean, really introduced. You know, just because of the arrogance of it. The arrogance of it when these people literally want to slit your throat is unbelievable. And it also makes you think about it when they're doing that, whether they're willfully ignorant or truly ignorant, they're making a very dangerous world for other people who may actually believe their bullshit and think, oh yeah, I'm all right there. No, you're not. You're in danger. So have a look, see how many comments this has let through. So I don't think it's letting any less or more than Prism, but I definitely think it's hiding some. Because I can see, like, some of you spoke to Vin, for instance. It's not. I've only got one comment from him, so. Hey there, Zyda. I remember seeing you yesterday, buddy. Good to see you again.
Target reached. Total 2 miles. 49 minutes 39 seconds. 5,027 steps. Heart rate 109 beats per minute.
I didn't say humans were 1 billion years old. Humans are rated at being somewhere between 1,000 to 3 million, 100,000 to 3 million years old. There's not an exact date on them. So no, I never said that they were 1 billion years old. That makes no sense. If they're 1 billion years old, they would have been walking around at the same time and potentially before the dinosaurs. That makes absolutely zero sense. So no, I didn't say humans were 1 billion years old. That would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. 1 billion years ago wasn't a lot going on. There was, but not in the way that it is now. Again, that's with 1 billion years of history missing. So, yeah, I'm no scientist. I'm not trying to pretend to be. But it doesn't mean that I can't read these things, understand these things, and have an opinion on these things based on multiple non-politically aligned scientists' opinions. You know, I think I would trust them rather than some random on the internet with an internet channel to sell. You know, not CO2 either, Tom. I know, buddy. I know. My hat, I lost my hat the other day. I've got to get another one. I'm a twat. Trying to catch up with you guys. The Earth is one of its catastrophe cycles. The climate change we're seeing is just part of that cycle. Right. Don't fall for that man-made climate tax scam. I love you, Spawn. I know we have disagreements at times, but that's because, like you said, trying to make each other better. But this is just, to me, I know loads of people. I'm putting this up on stage because I know people will hate on me for this. But we've all got our own opinions, yeah? But this is based on science. So, you know, we're allowed to have this opinion. Whatever you think about us, you know, because there was not long ago when having a scientific opinion was considered to be a good thing. Now it's considered to be heresy. It's, you know, and I don't like that. But more importantly, we're all allowed to have our own opinions. There's a lot of different prevailing theories about where we come from, but they think that Neanderthals, they thought at first that humans maybe hunted Neanderthals down, killed them. It's more likely that, it seems more likely that we just outbred them and bred with them, and they just became part of our DNA. They're about 2% of our DNA. It's more likely that they just became absorbed by us than some major war. I mean, there's contradictory evidence, but maybe we'll never know. But that's the prevailing wisdom at the moment. Good girl. Yep, good girl. So, we'll see. Thermodynamics and space weather can have a dramatic impact on Earth's climate change cycles as well. Yeah, I mean, you look at last year. Like I say, don't let me put last year down as a summer. It's one of the best summers I ever remember, because the temperature at night in June, we were getting July nighttime temperatures in June night times, which is very, very rare. Normally, even down here, get lovely days, but early in the summer, the night times can get quite cold. So it was a beautiful, but that was because of marine heat wave. It was beautiful. It really was a lovely summer. It just wasn't what they said it was. And there is some weird weather being caused at the moment. But you tell me a year when there's not. Like, since I was a kid, there's always been weird weather. Again, I was taught that by people who are very good at weather, just simply this: the local weather forecaster is always going to get more things right. And that just makes sense because of size, space. I can't remember everything I was going to tell you now, but basically, and this is held true, and that is that any forecast over 24 hours is going into guess territory. Anything over 48 hours, you might as well throw away, because it will be changed at any time, because it means nothing. And that's how, no matter what they keep saying about their upgraded technology, that's held true. They can see weather coming in, say, 3 weeks away, that could be hot. But often, when they see it coming in, they will, if they try and predict it, they'll say, oh, we've got 3 weeks of good weather coming in. Ends up being 2 days. And they've embarrassed themselves enough times. So now they've started to say, well, we don't know exactly. So you get weather coming in, but there's so much that can happen with the jet stream and everything else that can affect that weather, that whether it gets to us, how long it lasts and everything else. Because we have less weather stations out there now than we ever had. So getting the exact temperature in every exact location is actually harder now than it used to be. Also said it's 10 trillion seconds long, because the circumference would take 10 trillion seconds to walk across if you were a worm with no eyes. Why a worm with no eyes? I'm joking. Sorry, I'm not seeing, I can definitely tell you I'm not seeing all the comments, because I'm seeing you answer that one there. But there must have been something that led up to that, which I'm not seeing. So then, anybody, if I haven't seen your comments, or if you said hi, I'm not seeing it. Oh. People don't like facts these days. We've gone into a post-truth world, and people don't like facts. They like narrative. They prove it with people like, I hate to say this because I've always liked her, but Candace Owens. At the moment, I think, and if I try and take this as gently as I can, I think she could do with some help from real friends, because she's going through something. And what she's got instead is a bunch of sycophants who pretend to care about her, who keep egging her on and are helping her wreck a career and potentially her mental health. And these are supposed to be fans and people that care about her. They're scumbags. And yeah, sorry, I got me on that rant, but I hate seeing that over here. And this is what's happening. And this is why I say terms like woke right. Is because I don't want us to fall into those same narrative traps as the left does, where, or as some of the right in America has, where, oh, it's our favorite person, their ergo will agree with everything they say, even if it's wrong. Like, there's loyalty, And then there's asking for trouble. If you celebrate or ignore someone's wrongdoings, especially if you do it more than once, but if you do that, you don't get to complain when they do something else wrong down the line that you really don't appreciate, because you've told them it's okay to do the wrong thing. It's a positive reinforcement loop. So the more people get away with and get celebrated for it, the more they will expect to get away with, and expect that acceleration to be proportionately scalable. It's not, because there's a line where behavior, but people don't see that. So I mean, when the camera gets involved, people do lose a lot of common sense. And sometimes, believe it or not, I know this sounds crazy, but sometimes you are the only people that have the ability to get through to them, because they're enamored by you as much as maybe you think that you are by some of them, but they're enamored by the adulation. So when some of you actually kick back, I know they act to a butthurt at first, but the good ones will always take it on board, and you'll see a change in a lot of them. They'll go, do you know what? I better think about it. You know, so like I said to you a few weeks ago now, you've got so much more power than you realized. But I think recently you have realized it, and it's good to see. But as I keep saying, and again, I don't mean this as a patronizing remark. I mean it more as a motto than anything. Keep thinking for yourselves. Keep thinking for ourselves. You know, it's a difficult thing to do when you're being force-fed stuff every day. This is no longer new media. This is no longer the Truth Teller platform. This is a platform that has been invaded by the mainstream media, by just people who want to make money, by people who are genuine truth tellers, people who've got motivations that may not be aligned but are still innocent, people that want to run a legitimate business but also want to do the right thing, which I don't really have a problem with. If someone wants to make a business out of this so they can dedicate it 24/7 to it, I'm not really opposed to that. Same as I'm not opposed to people being out of the country. To me, it's just about, can we get shit done? Can they move us forward? Can they offer something positive? You know, and that's where we're at. People talk about uni, but they don't need to understand where we need to pull together as a nation. You can't just be, you can't be auto-unified. You've got to understand where and why you need to be unified. You've got to understand how that works. And you know, to each person, I mean, they've got to understand how that actually works in the real world. Talking about unity like it's on Star Trek is very easy. But talking about it in the real world, how it would actually work when metal meets stone, that's different, because you've got real people coming together then. And then it's not the fantasy talk that I see on the internet. Then it's real people with potentially opposing values that have got to try and work something out. That's more difficult. That's more difficult, especially when you then add egos and things like that to it, which unfortunately, whether any of us like it, we've all got egos. We've all got egos in life. Some have got control of them, some haven't. But it can affect anyone, you know? So, yeah, you know, I remember someone saying how we all need to be a bit more realistic. And I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, the realism's right there for you. Isn't it? Don't we think? We want to talk about realism. It's all there. And people like to live in these little fantasies, like the fantasy I think that some people lived in, and I'm going to go to Advance now, of thinking that Advance was the be-all and end-all of everything. And while I still don't have the same beef with them that many of you have, because I haven't seen as much, it's not looking good, is it? And I don't know. In fact, I knew what I was going to say about them, but you know what? It's just no point. It's just no point. I just hope they pull it together, because I do believe we need the strongest. Come 2029, we need the strongest lineups possible. And there may be some people in that party that are actually very useful. If people would just leave their emotions out of it. And this is what I'm so surprised at. We're the right. We're the right. We're not supposed to be overly emotional. We're supposed. Yeah, it's okay to have emotions. Like, emotions make you care about a subject, and then make you want to get educated on it. That's fine. But emotions, we don't have the impetus to find out about things and act. But everyone's acting on emotion without the reason and the thought. And you can see it because the production of YouTube videos now at a ridiculous rate. People making 4, 5, 6 videos a day. And it's like, it's, you know, I don't know. It's starting to make me feel a bit dirty. To be honest, I've been rude. No, sorry. So but I don't know. I don't know. At the same time, I also understand that the lid's blown off of something that people have been frustrated over for a long time. It's hard for me to judge people, knowing what I know. It's hard for me to judge anybody because dog. Yeah, understood. Headshot dead. Headshot dead. Hey, headshot dead. Dead. Good girl. Good girl. Right, listen. I think we've got a test over. You can tell me afterwards if we. Oh, sorry. If the stream came out, okay, I'll have a look myself. But also, what I'll do is when someone's got time, I'll get someone on as a guest, and we need to know we can have a guest on here. It's just I might have to release it after the fact to get her, and I do believe they deserve a live audience. So I don't know what to do because they have supported me really well over Get Her, you know. So I'll figure something out. But it's good to know we've got this extra tool so that I can bring you on live on a phone, which I should have been able to do a long time ago. Thank you, Spawn. Let me just put that up on screen. I haven't got a, what do you call it, a bloody outro on this or anything. I didn't expect this to really work very well, but they've done well. School run, I hear ya. Well, thank you everybody for coming on. I do appreciate your time. Please remember to like and subscribe, as we seem to be having this thing where, again, it's not targeted, but subscribers are dropping off, and yet it's not people unsubscribing. I know that because the subscribers growing up and up and up, and then within like 2 minutes they've dropped off. That doesn't happen in real life. It doesn't work like that. It's all so. I don't think again it's targeted. There's just a lot of going on YouTube at the moment, and in fairness, some of it is attempt to be fixes. But please just check that you're subscribed, and if you do appreciate any of the content I do, please give us a subscribe, and I appreciate having you aboard. In the meantime, love you all. I've got to get this dog across the road. I'm Tom Fury. This is Zero News. Thank you all for watching. Take care. And I'm going to end this. How am I going to end this? I'm going to end this right now. Take